Okay, so let's start with what we studied yesterday. So yesterday we saw two laws for the exponents. Right? We were just looking at the laws of exponents, and what we saw is a to the power m times a to the power n. A to the power n equal to a to the power m plus n. And the thing to remember is what we said was where a is any real
Rational
number.
number.
Real number.
Oh, sorry, real number.
Yeah, is any real number. So rational, irrational, anything is fine. And for m and n we said
A positive integer or
yes,
natural base.
yes, are positive integers. Or you can say same thing, natural numbers, right? Positive integers are also 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Natural numbers are also start from 1 and go on till infinity. All the counting numbers, so same thing, right? So that was that. And one more law what we saw was a to the power n by a to the power n. So here base is same, right? Only the exponents or the powers are different. So here we saw a to the power m minus n. And we saw one example why it happens m minus n is because this is right a multiplied with itself m times, and then in the denominator you have a multiplied with itself n times, and then lot of terms will get cancelled out. So what will remain is a to the power m minus n. And for this one we said where a is non-zero, right? Non-zero real number, and m and n are again positive integers. Positive integers. So this part is clear, right? So why the difference is coming here? Like where a is, we are putting an extra condition. A is non-zero real number. And the reason behind that is here a is in the denominator, right? And we don't want to divide with 0, right? What happens when we divide something with 0, like 1 by 0, if we try to divide, or 2 by 0, so then this quantity becomes infinity, okay? 1 by 0 or 2 by 0, this becomes infinity. So we saw two laws, okay? So a to the power m, a to the power n, power gets added, and a to the power n and divided by a to the power n, we get a to the power m minus n. So these two we studied. Now what can we say about a to the power 0? Okay, so let's look at an example. Okay, so suppose I have 2 to the power 5 and 2 to the power 5 divided by, right? So there's division here. So in the numerator I have 2 to the power 5 and denominator I have 2 to the power 5. Now if I use this exponent rule, this particular rule, so what can I write here? 2 raised to the
2 to the
power
power 0.
5 minus 5, right? Which becomes 2 to the power 0 if I use that rule, right? But let's say if we don't use this exponent rule, right, and we use our regular method of simplifying such expressions, right? So if I, so in the numerator I have 2 to the power 5, so I can write it 5 times, right? 1 2 3 4 5, so 5 times, and denominator also I can write it 5 times. So what do we see here? If we simplify, all the 2's will get cancelled, right? There are equal number of 2's in the numerator and denominator, right? So what do we get here is 1. what we are seeing here is 2 to the power 5 by 2 to the power 5. This becomes 1. And as per the exponent rule, this is nothing but 2 to the power 0, right? 5 minus 5, if we subtract the powers, this becomes 1, right? So 2 to the power 0 becomes 1. So this we can show for any, not just for 2, right? Any non-zero real number, okay? For any non-zero real number, we can show it like this: a to the power m divided by a to the power m, right? So if I expand it, like if I write it in the complete, notation, like this is a short form, right? A to the power m is a short form of a multiplied with itself m times, right? And in the denominator also we can write a multiplied with itself m times. And since I'm using this division rule here, right, a to the power m divided by a to the power m, so I am assuming a is not equal to 0. So a is any real number other than 0, okay? For that I'm doing this expansion here, and once I cancel things out, all of the a's will get cancelled, right? Because there are equal number of a's in numerator and denominator, right? So I'll get a 1 here. And on the right hand side, as per the exponent rule, we can write it as a to the power m minus m, which is 0. So we are showing here that any non-zero real number when raised to the power 0 becomes 1, right? So the key point to remember here is a is any non-zero real number, okay? A is any non-zero real number. If a is 0, what happens? Let's say if a is 0 and we put any power, let's say I put 0 square, so what do we get? 0 times 0 is 0, right? If I cube it, right, so what do we get? 0 is multiplied with itself 3 times, so we get a 0, right? So I can't expect that if I put a power of 0 here, this will become 1, right? So this is incorrect. This is incorrect. 0 to the power 0 is actually not defined, okay? 0 to the power 0 is not defined. So some people can argue, right, that 0 to the power 0 can be 1, right? Going by that logic, that any, a to the power 0, if I put any rational number and if I put a power of 0, this becomes 1. So 0 to the power 0 should be 1. But if I go with this argument, let's say 0 to the any power, this gives me 0 only. So how can 0 to the power 0 give me 1, right? Because 0, if I raise it to any power, it becomes 0. So actually this is kind of ambiguous, right? So if someone asks you what is 0 to the power 0, we'll say 0 to the power 0 is undefined, right? So we looked at division and multiplication. Now let's see what can we do. Now again, we know for any non-zero real number, we know that this is a to the power m minus n, right? So I'll say a is non-zero, m and n are positive integers, okay? So we know this. Now and we also know that if a is non-zero, if a is non-zero, then a to the power 0 is 1. Okay. So from here what can we say is, if we put in place of m, let's put 0, right? So we'll say 0 here, and here we'll say n, and this side what will become? A to the power 0 minus n, right? So what I'm doing is just in place of m I am putting a 0, right? So this quantity becomes 1 by a to the power n equal to a to the power minus n. So now we are starting to look at negative indices, right? So far we are talking about what if, when the power is a positive number. Okay. But now what we are looking at, when the power can be a negative integer as well. So then we have this kind of rule. For example, if I write 1 by 2 to the power 3, so this can also be written as 2 to the power minus 3. Okay. So what is happening here is it's becoming reciprocal. Okay, so if I or if I flip this statement, so I can write it as a to the power minus n can be written as 1 by a to the power n. Right. So if you look at some examples, let's see some examples here. So for example, if I do 2 by 5 to the power minus 2, okay, so what this will become is, if I take a reciprocal of this base here, so base here is 2 by 5, and if I do a reciprocal of it, so this will become 5 by 2, and then the sign of this exponent will change, so this will become a plus 2. Right. So let me write down all the rules what you have seen so far. Laws of exponents: a to the power n, a to the power n, a to the power, this becomes m plus n for any real a and positive integers m and n. So that's that. A to the power m by n, so that becomes a to the power m minus n, and this holds good for any non-zero a, and m and n are positive integers. Then we looked at a to the power 0 equal to 1, so this holds good for non-zero a, right? A should be non-zero. So a can be positive, negative, whatever, but this can't be 0. Then another thing we discussed was 0 to the power 0 is undefined. And then we started looking into negative power. So a to the power minus n becomes 1 by a to the power n, right? So some examples, what we can say, 2 to the power minus 3, this will become 1 by 2 cube. Okay. So these are all the rules that we have, and let's see a few more. Okay, now let's come to this one, a to the power m and this whole to the power n. So what can this be? Any guesses here?
A to the
It's
power
a
m
power
times
mn.
A to
yeah,
the power
m
mn.
times n.
This gets multiplied, and again why this happens, so we can look at it with a simple example. Let's say we do 2 cube and square. Right, so if you want to expand this now, so let's look at the outermost power here. This is a 2, right? So that means this thing inside the bracket, that has to be multiplied with itself 2 times, because the power is 2 here. So let's do that. So I have 2 cube, 2 cube, 2 times I'm writing. And why 2 times? Because the outermost power here is 2, right? So this 2 cube has to be multiplied with itself 2 times. And then if we expand this again, right, so this becomes 2 times 2 times 2, this particular bracket, and this again becomes 2 times 2 times 2, right? So in total, how many times we are seeing 2 here?
6.
Right?
Six.
6 times, which is nothing but 2 raised to the power 3 times 2. So this is another law. A to the power m and whole raised to the power n becomes a raised to the power m times n. Now any guesses? This will hold for what? Any real a, or should I put like non-zero a? What shall we put here? So see, we are not doing any division here. A is not in the denominator, right? So here we can say a is
Any real number.
any real number, yeah. Any real number. When this number goes in the denominator, so in the denominator we don't want to divide by 0. So then we have to put those conditions that a should be non-zero. And then we have a, b. Now I have a product here and whole raised to the power n. Okay. So here what I can do is I can open the bracket and write it as a to the power n times b to the power n. Right? And how this happens, let's again look at it with a simple example. So let's say I have 2 times 3. Instead of a times b, let's write 2 times 3 and whole raised to the power, let's say 4. So what this means is this whole thing inside the bracket has to be multiplied with itself 4 times. So this whole bracket will be multiplied. I'll just draw the brackets here. How many times? 4 times, right? Because the power is 4 here. So 2 times 3, 2 times 3. Right? So we wrote it like that. And now what we can do is collect all the 2's in one place. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. There are 2 4 times. And then 3 is also how many times? 4 times, right? So now if I draw a bracket like that, right, the answer is not going to change, and this can be written as 2 raised to the power 4 times 3 raised to the power 4. So we have this law of exponent a times b to the power n. So the power gets distributed across all these numbers in the bracket here. So it becomes a to the power n, b to the power n. Okay, and this is again a and b are any real number. Okay, so since we looked at that, so that leads us to this division form, right? A by b to the power n, this will become, the power will get distributed, so this can also be written as a to the power n by b to the power n. Right? Now this is again easy to see, right? If I use the definition of this exponent, right? So what I can say is this is basically a by b multiplied with itself n times, right? And in the numerator I can collect all the a's, so I'll have a n times, and in the denominator also I'll get b n times, right? So this becomes a to the power n by b to the power n. Okay, so now we got this law here, a by b whole raised to the power n, so power will get distributed like that. And again, if I want to put some conditions, so a can be any real number, and for b what should we say? B is any non-zero real number, non-zero real number. So for example, there is a question here to simplify 3 times a to the power 4 b cube, then there's power 10 here, times 5, in bracket here we have a square b square whole raised to the power 3. Okay, so how can we simplify that? So there is a multiplication here, right? So I can change the arrangement of these numbers, right? So I can multiply 3 with 5, so this becomes a 15, and then see there is power 10 here, so this power 10 can be distributed on these individual products over here. So this becomes a to the power 4, that gets a power 10, and we have a b cube, and on top of b cube also we can put a power 10, and again we can open this bracket over here and write a square to the power 3 and then b square to the power 3, right? So all I have used is this particular law that we studied, ab to the power n. We can open the bracket and say, write this as a raised to the power n, b raised to the power n. So what I have done is I have opened this bracket first and put the power on both these numbers here, power 10, and then if you open this bracket, so this power 3 will go and sit on top of this a square as well as b square. Now in the next step, let's use this particular law, a to the power m, and I have one more power n, so that becomes a to the power mn, right? So we can write 15, and these two powers will get multiplied, so that becomes a to the power what? 40. We have b to the power 30, then this particular thing, 3 times 2, that becomes a 6, and again this becomes a 6 over here, right? Now in the next step we can bring these two terms together. We see that there's a base is a here and base here also is a, so when the bases are same, what have we seen is powers get added, right? So we can write 15 and a to the power 40 plus this 6 becomes a 46, and b raised to the power 30 and 6, so base is here 36, So this is the answer here, right? So this is how you simplify. Okay. Then if I take another question, so I'll do a few examples and then remaining, maybe I'll take a picture and post it in our group and you can try to attempt it at home. Okay. So next question is, we are given a equal to 3, b equal to -2, and we have to find the value of a raised to the power a plus b raised to the power b. Okay. So what we can do is substitute these values. So for a we have 3, right? So this particular term is a to the power a. So this becomes 3 to the power 3 plus, in place of b we will write -2, right? So this will become -2 to the power -2. Okay. Now this is easy, right? This, what is this number? 3 cube?
27.
27. Yeah, 3 multiplied it by with itself 3 times. So that becomes a 27. And here, since we see a negative power, so let's use this particular law here. A to the power minus n becomes 1 by a to the power n. We do the reciprocal, right? So we will write it as 1 by -2 and power turns positive. So instead of -2 power, now we can write 2 power here. Okay, so 27 plus. Now what is the square of -2? Right, minus square. So what is this? This is this is -2 times -2. Some problem with the pen. -2. Okay. So what do we get here? -2 times -2. What it will become? This should be 4, right? So minus multiplied with itself twice, so this should be 4. So do we understand this? Like,
Yes, sir.
this should be clear to everyone, right? And then this you can take the LCM and add. Now it's important to understand this product of negative numbers, right? So let's see, if I have -1 times -1, what do we have? What is the answer here?
1.
1. Yeah, it's a positive 1. But if I write -1, if I multiply it 3 times, then what is the answer?
-1.
Negative. -1. So now you should be able to tell me this. If I write -1 raised to the power 100, so this means
That would be +1.
that would be +1. Yes, right.
Because it's an even number. So.
Correct. It's an even number. So -1 multiplied with itself 100 times. So it's an even number, means what we can do is we can divide it into pairs of 2, right? We can arrange them into pairs of 2 and each pair will give me a positive 1, right? So I'll get a 1 here. But if I raise it to an odd power, right? 101, let's say -1 raised to the power 101. So this will become -1 because this is an odd power, right? Okay. Okay. Now some equations also, some problems you'll get like this. For example, 7 to the power 2x plus 3 equal to 1. So what is the value of x? Okay, so how can we solve this? So for this one, what we studied was any non-zero number, if we take and put the power as 0, then that becomes 1, right? So I have base as 7 here, and I want to put a power so that this whole quantity becomes a 1. Now for that to happen, I should have the power 2x plus 3 should be 0, right? So if the power 2x plus 3 becomes 0, then this will make this equation as 7 raised to the power 0, and then 7 raised to the power 0 will be 1. So if this was my equation, from here I can write it as 2x plus 3 should be 0, and then we can write this as x equal to minus 3 by 2. So some equations would be given, and you would have to find the value of the variable, so x in this case. Now moving on, what I wanted to cover today is what happens if we have fractional powers. So today, so far we have looked at when powers are integers, right? Whether it's a positive integer or it's a negative integer, right? Both we saw, right? So if the power is negative integer, like 2 to the power minus 3, if minus 3 is the power, this becomes 1 by 2 to the power 3. Okay. And the very simple case, when we started the class, right? If the power is a positive integer, we can multiply it so many times. But let's say if we ask this question, 2 raised to the power half. So does this make sense, right? Can we multiply 2 with itself half times? Right? So far
we can write it as square root of 2.
No, so for example, let's say in this example, right? So when we looked at the definition of exponent, we said this is a short form of writing this particular thing here, right? If 2 is multiplied with itself 3 times, so that we write it as 2 to the power 3, right? Or we say some example like this, 3 to the power 4. So I can multiply 3 with itself 4 times. So see, this is a whole number, right? So we understand this clearly, right? 4 times or 5 times. But if I put the exponent like this, so how can I multiply 2 with itself half times?
Half time. I'm not sure if this is right, but because
So,
it's 2,
yeah.
So we could like half it, like divide it by
No.
2.
No. So,
Yeah,
so
right.
divide by 2, that becomes a 1, right? So there is a different way these sort of numbers are defined, okay? Right? Because we looked at the definition of 2 to the power 3. So if it's a whole number, right, 2 to the power 3, we define it as multiply 2 with itself 3 times. That was the definition, right? A to the power n, if n is a positive integer, then we can say multiply a, then we had said multiply a with itself how many times? N times, when a is a positive integer. So that's how we defined this. But for fractional powers, we define things in a different way. Okay. So for fractional powers, let's look at this new definition. So let's start with A is any positive real number and n is any positive integer then a to the power 1 by n, right? So n is a positive integer, so 1 by n will be a rational number, right? So 1 by n can be what? 1 by n can be like 1 by 2, 1 by 3, 1 by 4. So let's look at these type of rational numbers first, where numerator is 1 and denominator can be any positive integers, right? So that those kind of powers, let's look at them first, and then we will see, like, if the power is like general 2 by 3, right, or 4 by 5, then how do we interpret that? But for now, let's focus our attention when a is any positive real number and the power on top of a is these kind of numbers, right? 1 by 2, 1 by 3, 1 by 4, and so on, with numerator is 1 and denominator is a positive integer. So a to the power n. Okay. So first of all, how do we read this, right? How do we read this? For example, when we said write that again. So when we said a and put a power as n, so how do we read this? We said this as a raised to the power n, right? Or we can also say nth power of a, where n was a positive integer. Now if I say a to the power 1 by n, again n is a positive integer, so 1 by n is a are numbers such as 1 by 2, 1 by 3, and so on, and a is any positive number here. Let's focus on positive numbers as of now, then we'll talk like if a is negative what happens. But for now we'll restrict our case to a is greater than 0 and n is positive integer. So a to the power 1 by n, this is called, so this is a new term, okay, principal, this you might not have read earlier. This is called principal nth root of a. So see the difference here, right? This thing here we were calling it as a raised to the power n or nth power of a. Okay, this particular quantity a raised to the power n we were calling as nth power of a. Okay, for example 2 raised to the power 5, this will be called as fifth power of 2, right? But in this particular case, this we are calling as a to the power 1 by n as principal nth root of a. So we are not calling it power, right? This is called nth root of a. So if I look at some example, let's say 2 to the power 1 by 5. So this will be called as principal fifth root of a. Principal, okay. It's principal fifth root of a. Or if I write, so what do we call this? Anyone wants to take an attempt? How do we read this first?
Principal second
root of a.
3, yeah, the number base here is 3, correct. So we will say this as principal second root of 3, and for second root there is a special name called for the principal second root, this whole thing, there is a special name what we also call as square root. Okay. So the special name is given only to the powers 1 by 2 and 1 by 3. Just in the case of like whole number powers, when we wrote as 3 to the power 2, so this we call 3 square or second power of 3. if I am given this, so I can call it principal second root of a, or I have a special name, you can call it also as square root of 3. Okay, so let's practice this first. Okay, how do we read this first, and then we'll see like how it is defined. So 5 to the power 1 by 3. So this is called, we'll start with the word principal. Okay, so principal, right, and PAL, it's not PLE. Okay, sometimes we get confused, right? What should be the spelling of principal here? Is it PLE or PAL? So in this case it's a PAL, principal, and since power is 1 by 3, so we'll call it principal third root of 5. Okay, and for the principal third root we also give a special name called cube root. Okay, so we can also call this as cube root of 5. Okay, so only when the powers are like half or 1/3, we have come up with a special name called square root here when the power is 1 by 2, and there is a special name given here called cube root, because these type of sums you'll see pretty often, so they have given a special name to it so that you don't have to say the whole sentence like principal second root of a, right, in this case, or principal third root of a. So instead of saying that whole sentence all the time, we'll just refer to it as square root of a or cube root of a here. But the general way of saying of such numbers, suppose 1 by 10, a to the power 1 by 10, right? So I'm doing more examples here. This is I think first time you are reading this, right? So that's why it's pretty important to see how do we read this first. So this thing will be called as principal, what shall we call it, since the power is 1 by 10?
10th root of a.
10th root, yeah, 10th root, and we have to pay attention to this word also, 10th root of a. If this was a to the power 10, we would have called it what? 10th. Oh, there is no
10th
principal
power.
word here,
Okay.
and yeah, there is no principal word here, and we would have called it 10th power of a. But when the power is 1 by 10, we call it principal 10th root of a. Okay, so now, so that was just the notation part. Okay, and how do we read it? So a to the power 1 by n, we read it as principal nth root of a, where n is a positive integer. Principal nth root of a. Now what is this quantity equal to, right? End goal is to find that, right? For example, if I have 3 square, if I have 3 square, so if I have 3 square, I can always write it as 9. But if I have, let's say, 4 to the power half, so this is principal second root of 4, right? That's how we'll read it, principal second root of 4 or square root of 4. Now what should this quantity be equal to? I want to be able to put some real number here without any exponents, just a simple real number here. So for that, look, let's see how this kind of quantity is defined. Okay, so we need to define it in a different way. The way we defined when the power was a positive integer, that method will not work here. So here we say principal nth root of a is a number x such that when x is raised to the power n, we get a. This is the definition. So let's, instead of a and n, let's write some concrete numbers, then you will understand properly. Like let's say, if I say 4 to the power half. So this is principal second root of 4 is a number x such that x to the power what? So this power, in the denominator what power I see? 2, right?
2.
So such that x to the power 2 should give me this a back, right? So I'll say x to the power 2 should be 4. So all I'm saying is 4 to the power half, or the square root of 4, is a number x. And what is that number x? That number x when squared should give me 4. Right? So which number when I square that gives me a 4?
2.
What's that number? Right? So there are two options here. 2 as well as minus 2. Okay. There are two options here. And that's why we were bringing in the term principal, right? So this will be considered the principal. Principal. Okay. So 4 to the power half will be 2. Okay. Let's see a few more examples. Okay. Then it will be clear. So let's pick the numbers where we can find it easily. So if I pick 27 to the power 1 by 3. So first of all, how do we read it? This is principal third root of 27, or in short form we say cube root of 27, right? So principal third root of 27, and since 27 is positive, so I have to find a positive x. So is you can say number x such that when x is raised to power 3, it should give me 27. So if I am able to find such a number, then that x will be 27 to the power 1 by 3. Right? So this 3 power we can shift it this side and write it as 1 by 3. If I am able to find such a number x. Okay. So
would it be 3?
it should be 3, yeah. So it should be 3. So which number raised to the power 3 gives me 27? Right? So it should be 3. So all we are saying is, since 3 raised to the power 3 is 27, so we can write in another ways 27 raised to the power 1 by 3, right, will be equal to 3. Or principal third root of 27 is 3, or cube root of 27 is 3. There are different ways of saying the same thing. Now let's take a negative number. Let's say if I take minus 8 to the power 1 by 3. So what is this? Again, this is principal third.
But since it's power 1 by 3, it can be written as cube root, right?
Yes, yes. But I want you to remember this term as well. So short form is cube root because its power is 1 by 3. But the general term is principal third root of, not 3, right? It's principal third root of minus 8. Okay, this is principal third root of minus 8. So this will be a negative number x. Why negative number? Principal third root, why we want negative number is because the base is negative here, right? So principal third root of minus 8 will be a negative number x.
And it is power 1 by 3 and
that
3 is an odd
x
number.
to the power 3 should give me minus 8. Whatever is in the base, I should get it back. Okay. So in this case, what is such a number? You can see if instead of x, if I use minus 2 and put the power 3, this gives me minus 8. Okay, so I can say is minus 8 to the power 1 by 3 will be equal to minus 2. Okay, so another thing to remember is when we are finding a principal third root or principal fourth root or principal fifth root, so the signs of these number should match. Okay, so if I have a negative number, the principal third root also has to be a negative number, and if I have a positive number, the principal third root will be defined as a positive number. Okay, so again, if I go to this example, 16 to the power half. Okay, so here base is a positive number, right? Base is what? 16. So it's a positive number raised to the power 2. So this thing is so for the principal second root, since the base is positive, I want a positive real number, right? X such that, any questions?
But it can be both positive and negative, right?
Yeah, such that x square equal to 16, right? But since the base is positive here, so I am only looking for those x's which are positive. So here I'll write 16 to the power half equal to 4. I will not say 16 to the power half. If I say minus 4, that becomes incorrect. That's how the principal nth roots are defined. Okay, if I write a negative number here, 27, and put the power 1 by 3, so this will be a, since the base is negative, so this will be defined as a negative number x such that x when raised to the power 3 should give me minus 27, because the base is minus 27 here, right? So when I cube x, I should get a minus 27. And another thing I'm emphasizing here is, since the base is negative here, so I want a negative number x. If the base was positive, 27 to the power 1 by 3, then I would say, since the base is positive, so principal third root of positive 27 will be defined as positive number x. So the signs have to match. Positive number x, okay, such that x cube should be 27. Are you getting this idea?
Yes.
Let's spend some time on this since you are reading this as for the first time, right? So when I said 16 to the power half, so since this is a positive number, so this whole quantity, principal second root of x, I want a positive number, positive x, so that such that, right, such that x square, right, x square should give me 16. So this will be written as 4, not minus 4, because the signs have to match. So if there is a plus 16, I will accept only positive 4 here. That's how the principal nth root of any number are defined. Whatever is the sign of the base here, the final result, when I simplify this whole thing, the final result also should have the same sign. Okay. So if I say 27 to the power 1 by 3, I will write it as 3. And if I say minus 27 to the power 1 by 3, since it's a negative, this will be written as minus 3. And if I write 4 to the power half, then it has to be plus 2 only. I won't accept minus 2 as an answer here, because the signs have to match. When I'm talking about principal nth root of any number, any real number, so the principal nth root that we get, it has to have the same sign as the base that we have on which we are putting the power. Right? And that's why the term principal is coming, okay? Because we have more options, more than 2 options. So let's say if I don't put that condition that signs have to match, if I simply say 4 to the power half is a number x such that x square should be 4. If I don't put any restriction on the sign of x, so how many options I will have for x here? I have here 2 options. I can say x equal to 2, because 2 square also gives me 4, and I can say x equal to minus 2 as well, right? Because minus 2 square also gives me 4.
But it can't be minus 2 because minus 2 and 4, the signs don't match.
Yes. So if I look at this equation, x square equal to 4, so I have 2 possible values of x, right? X can be minus 2 as well as plus 2. So I have 2 options. I square any of these, I can get 4. But that's why the principal term is coming, right? So since there are 2 options, the principal number will be, the principal nth root of 4 will be that number for which the sign matches with the actual original base that we have. So in the base originally we put 4 to the power half, right, which was a positive number. So this particular answer, that will be called as the principal here, principal. Even if we have 2 options, so this will not be called the principal. Okay, so sometimes you will see, right, if we, there will be many options, like when you, maybe I will not or just give you a, let's say for example, if we say x to the power 4 equal to 1, so this is a 4th degree equation, okay? So how many possible options for x can I have? What number when raised to the power 4 gives me 1? So one option is 1 itself, right? 1 to the power 4 is 1, right? Another option can be minus 1 to the power 4, right? That is also a 1, right? And in higher classes, you will see more options. So that I will leave it for now. I will not put more options here. But when we have such an equation, x to the power 4 equal to 1, so what you will actually have is 4 different values of x, because it's a 4th degree equation. So you'll get 4 different values of x, which when raised to the power 4 will give you a 1. Okay. Similarly, if I put, let's say, x raised to the power 10 equal to 1, or I can put 1 or any real number. So if I am looking for some x when raised to the power 10, it should give me a 1. So there will be 10 different values, 10 different options of x that will give me the answer 1. But only one of them will be called as principal. Okay, and that principal value will be the positive real number which satisfies this equation. So in this particular case, the principal value will be 1. The other options will be 1, and there will be bunch of more options are there, not 0, like bunch of more options, so that will not look here. But so many numbers we can find out, like if the degree 10 here, degree here is 10, so we can find 10 different options which will satisfy this equation. So when I raise those to the power 10, it will always give me 1. But only one option here will be called as the principal out of these 10 different options. Okay, so again to repeat. Okay, so let's say 5 to the power 1 by 3. So since 5 is positive, right, so we'll read this as principal third root of 5, right? Principal, this is read as principal third root of 5 is a positive or negative number. What should I write here?
Positive?
Positive, yes, because the base here is
Because
positive.
base is positive.
Base is positive, so we will say is a positive number x such that x raised to the power 3, since power is 1 by 3, so we flip it, we'll say x to raised to the power 3 should give me 5. So if I'm able to find such a number, right, on which if I put power 3 that gives me 5, then 5 to the power 1 by 3 will be that number x, right? And if I say minus 5 raised to the power 1 by 3, so principal third root of minus 5. So what will that be? That will be a number x. This will be equal to a negative number x. Since the base is negative here, so as per the definition, right, we are not going against the definition. This is how it's defined, all the principal nth roots of any real number. So here, since the base is negative, what we want is a negative number x such that x cube should give me back what? This base here, such that x cube equal to minus 5. Right? So is this idea getting clear? Like how do we read it and what is the definition?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So for now, let's stop here today. This is a new thing that we studied. So let's stop here today and we'll continue on the exponents next time. But for now, whatever we have studied, the laws of exponents when the powers are positive integers or negative integers, right? Not fractions. When the powers are positive or negative integers. So for those, we have read certain laws of exponents, and for those there are some exercises given in the book. So those who have the book, please try to solve it. And if not, I'll post these questions in the signal. Okay. So you should try to solve using the laws of exponents we have studied so far. And in the next class, we will continue with this idea of principal nth root of a real number, right? So what is the definition of principal nth root that we looked at today? and how do we find it, and what are the other laws, like when the power becomes a fraction. So that we'll look at in the next class. Okay, so with that I'll stop sharing. So before we close, any questions from anyone, either from this chapter or
Yes,
maybe
sir.
from the earlier chapters, right? If you are still solving the rational number problems, number system. So if there is any question, you can bring it up, or if not, then
No,
we are
sir.
good to close. Okay, okay. So if no questions, so then we close now. So thanks for joining. Thank you all. We'll meet again
Thank
on
you, sir.
next weekend.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.